This is going to be the section with the spies, with the Meraglim, the spies. 798. Now, to really understand this, we have to get a little bit of a background. And the first question is, because, we're talking about, if you know anything, the whole story is that Moshe Rabbeinu is going to send these spies into the land of Israel, and they're going to come back with a negative report, and the Jewish people are going to cry, and then there's going to be a decree. They're going to be 40 years wandering in the desert. Now, this is all the trouble starts here. So the backdrop of this is, first of all, we go to the previous Parsha, right at the end of the previous Parsha. What happened? Miriam and Aaron had Moshe Rabbeinu separated from his wife. Why did he separate from his wife? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was, at any point Hashem could speak to Moshe Rabbeinu, the divine presence would he would get a communication, and he felt for the sake of purity he has to separate from his wife. So Miriam gets involved. One of the interesting things here is, why does Miriam get involved at all? So it's just very interesting that the last time a man separated from his wife was who? Moshe's father. Interesting. And who got involved then? Miriam. She's the one, she gave her father Musar. She said, your decree is worse than Paro's decree. Paro only made a decree on the males. Your decree affects males and females. Nobody's going to be born. And so he remarried his wife. And who was born as a result? Moshe. So Miriam has a lot of motivation to get involved over here. She says, number one, I'm good at this. Number one, I've been successful with this before. And if Moshe is separated from his wife, I'm the one. The last time this happened, I got involved, and we had very good results. Moshe Rabbeinu was born, and not only that, Moshe Rabbeinu himself should realize what the benefits are of not being separated, because he himself was born. So everything in the story kind of leans in the direction of indicates Miriam should really get involved here. And who does she talk to? She talks to Aaron, which makes a lot of sense too. Because she doesn't know why Moshe Rabbeinu separated for sure. Yeah, maybe there's a shalom bias issue over here. Now, who's the shalom bias man? Aaron. Everything about the story seems to make a lot of sense. Yet they made one mistake. What was the mistake? They underrated Moshe Rabbeinu. They were prophets, and they said, "Listen, we're prophets. We live with our spouses like husband and wife. Why should he's a prophet too?" The only mistake they made is, but he's not like you. He's on a different level. And you had no right to speak, even though, and the Gemara says, even though she was his sister and she loved him, and it wasn't that malicious, and it was but you spoke. There's something disparaging here. Therefore, she gets punished with saras. She gets leprosy, and the entire Jewish people wait for her for 7 days. That's what the Torah. That was what happened in the previous episode. So Rashi, the very first Rashi here, let's take a look at the pasuk for a second. Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe Leibar, Shlach lecha anoshim v'yasur zeretz Kanaan she'nesan livnei Yisrael, ish echad l'matei avosav tishlochu kol nasi vahem. Send men to go out, and now there are different ways, different words for spying. One word is l'ragel. One is v'yasuru. The Yasuru comes from the word Yitaron. Yitaron means the benefits, the positive, which means that really they're being sent to go and bring back a report on what's good about Eretz Yisrael. Because there isn't really a question whether they're going in or not. Yet they're called Meraglim. A Meragil is somebody who brings a negative report. That's what the Torah calls them later. But at this point, no, it doesn't say they're spies. It says they're go off and check out the land of Israel. So take a look at the first Rashi. Shlach lecha anoshim, right column, top line. Lama nisbecha parshas meraglim and parshas Miriam. Why was this section of the Torah put right next to the previous section? Why did the Torah write this section over here? Lefi shalaksa aliske diba, because Miriam herself was punished for her derogatory words. Shedibra be'achia, she spoke against her brother. They saw what happened to Miriam. Everybody knew that Miriam's outside the camp with Saras. Everybody's talking about Miriam for the week. Ooh, did you hear what happened to Miriam? Yeah, she said, well, boy, it's us. What happened? I know something about Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm not sure. She said something. Everybody knew. So you're going into the land of Israel, you come back with a negative report, you didn't learn anything? You didn't learn anything? That's what's why the Torah juxtaposes this Parsha to the previous Parsha. That's the first thing Rashi says. Okay. Now, why is a question? What would your reaction be? Say you're coughing. And I say to you, listen, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that's bronchitis. I want you to take this pill. And you say to me, what kind of pill is it? Don't worry about it. Trust me. Would you take the pill?
To my friend.
You would? Yeah. Even if the guy, I'm a rabbi, I'm not a doctor, I'm not even telling you what the pill is. And you would take it? Okay, could be, yeah. You trust me. Mistake. You trust me. Okay, good. I probably would. I have no problem. Take a pill. What's going to happen? What could possibly happen from one pill? What are you going to do? You end up with a French accent? You know, what could possibly happen? All right, so take a pill. What could be? So you get a little nauseous or something. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. Okay. What about if I say to you, do you have $10,000 I'd like to borrow? I have an investment to make. I'm good for the money. Would you trust me with that? Oh, Shmuel, look at that. Oh, the great equalizer. No, money, no. Pills, yeah, money, no. Illegal drugs, he's fine. But when it comes to a little cash, no. Okay, I don't blame you. I didn't trust you either. Don't worry. Right? And what if I say to you, don't lend me the money, but I got a really good, I have a good sense about this stock. I think you should put $10,000 in. What about that? Would you do it based on what I'm telling you? No. Okay, that you wouldn't do. Okay. I wouldn't either. Okay. Now, what if I tell you to stand on the edge of a 12-story building and jump, and don't worry about it? I'm a frum, and I davened hard this morning, and I'm pretty sure. I'm not pretty sure. I'm absolutely sure Hashem will be with you. It's only 12 stories, and it's only even in the worst scenario. The problem is only on those last few feet. The first 11 and a half stories you could enjoy, right? The problem is only for a couple of, would you do it? Would you jump? No. Okay. So you understand there could be a little bit of fear over there. Now, there could be a little bit of fear. Not only that, what if the firemen are telling you to jump out of the, not 12 stories, three-story house is burning, you're at the third-story window, they're standing there with that trampoline or whatever they got down there to say, jump, buddy, because there's no other choice. Then you know that you have no choice but to trust them, right? Then you have no choice. Would you be nervous then? Still be plenty nervous. Okay. The Jewish people are being told, go into the land. Now, what kind of land is this? This is a prosperous land. We're going to see later on that there are big fruits, that they come back with giant fruits. Well, we're not talking about who do you think was living in the land? This wasn't a bunch of left-wing pacifists from Berkeley University. And you're talking about people who are very protective about their property. These are fierce warriors. What are you going to just march in there? Hi, fellows, we came to take over your land. See ya. Well, what do you think? What do you think? Who are and what are you? What equipment do you have? These are trained warriors. They're on the defense. They're protecting their homeland. You're going to just go march. So you can understand that there might be a little fear over here. That's the flaw of the Jewish people. Theoretically, to go in and check things out, nothing wrong with that. We're meant to behave responsibly in life. And not only that, Moshe Rabbeinu, we're going to see that the main flaw was not how. In other words, let's say there's a general. The general sends they got to take the army has to take a hill. The enemy's occupying a hill. So he sends one of the guys up ahead. He says, I want you to a reconnaissance mission, and I want you to come back and tell me what's the best way we're going to take this hill. And the guy goes over there. Should we go down around? Should we go over the head? Should we go through from behind, from the front? What should we do? How should we do it? And this guy, the spy, comes back and says, sir, we shouldn't take the hill. You got court-martialed for that. I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't ask you if we should or shouldn't. I asked you how we should do it. That decision was already made. The decision of how to do it, the decision of doing it was already, I made the decision. Now you're coming back and telling me you disagree with my decision? That you can't, you don't have the right to do that, yeah.
Didn't it say that Hashem didn't like it to send the Meraglim there because they're not having tough on Hashem?
That's the problem. There is an opinion, though, that to go in and check out the land to see what you're going to go in and see there, but not to check the quality of the land. What are you checking the quality of the land? I promise you the land's of great quality. You have to check the quality. I need your opinion. I'm not asking for your opinion. To go in and see how we should do it, of course you should go and see how we should do it. But to go in and then make a decision, no, it's too strong for us. We're intimidated. We can't do that. That's what Hashem's worried about. But to go in and see, what are you going to do? Just start walking? Obviously, everything in life we have to do that. You always have to be responsible. The responsible thing is, listen, the decision was made, we're going in now responsibly. How should we go into the land? Where should we go? Should we go from this side to this side? Just a strategic mission, that's fine. But Hashem also knew, and he saw that this is going to turn into a situation where it's not going to end up strategic. It's going to end up with an opinion.
Why didn't he send them in there?
Because the people wanted it at that point. That's a good question. According to the Mefarshim, Moshe Rabbeinu felt that once the people are asking for Meraglim to go in, Moshe Rabbeinu is now going to catch 22. What are you say? No, you don't need to go in. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? How come you're not showing it to me? I want to sell you a motorcycle. Would you like to see it in advance?
Yeah,
No, you don't need to. You don't need to see it in advance. Why not? What's wrong with it?
You sure what
So let's take one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Later on, they do go in. You'll see that Yeshua sends in 2 spies, and there was nothing wrong with that. He sends in Pinchas and Kalev, and that goes in. He's not criticized for that. Because that was also to check how to go in. There was how. How is fine. If is not fine. That's the problem. Okay, let's see. That's the background. So Yishlach Osa Moshe v'Midbar Paran al Pi Hashem Kulam Anoshim Roshei B'nei Yisrael Haman. Then the Torah goes through their names. And you'll notice that 2 of the people are, one is Kalev ben Yehuda. Then, in Pasuk Zayin, sorry, not Pasuk Zayin, Pasuk Yud. Pasuk Yud starts the trouble. Lemate Yosef, everybody say it's about 10 lines from the top. Lemate Yosef, Lemate Menashe, Gadi ben Susi. So, from the tribe of Yosef, Yosef was split into 2. Yosef was split into Ephraim and Menashe. Remember, Yosef has 2 sons, and Yosef becomes 2 tribes. So I skipped the pasuk. Sorry. Look through 2 psukim up. Lemate Ephraim Hoshea bin Nun. From the tribe of Ephraim is Hoshea bin Nun. Now Ephraim is the son of Yosef, but Yosef's name is not mentioned there. And who is this man Hoshea bin Nun? Yoshua. We're going to see that this is really Yoshua. And the word bin Nun, if you combine it, why is he called bin Nun instead of ben Nun? Well, the bin over here means son of.
There's no.
Why is it? Why? Right. So why, but why?
There's no yud like bin.
Right. There's no yud, but it's pronounced as bin. Yeshua bin Nun, as opposed to Yeshua ben Nun. Everywhere else in the Torah it's ben.
They give that yud to Hoshea.
Huh? The yud, is that where the yud came from? The yud came from bin. I know the yud came from Sarah. When the yud from Sarah was given to Yoshua, Sarai, that yud ended up by Hoshea. So the Mefarshim say, because if you combine the words bin nun, it sounds it's bin nun. Binun is the Hebrew word for understanding, intelligence, wisdom. Hoshea is the disciple of Moshe Rabbeinu, and he got the Torah understanding from Moshe Rabbeinu. Eventually, he becomes the leader of the Jewish people. So if you notice now look at the contrast here. It says Lamate Ephraim Hoshea bin Nun. Everybody see where I am. I mixed it up a little bit. 8 lines from the top. Lamate Ephraim Hoshea bin Nun. And then 2 lines later, 1 line later, it says Lamate Yosef Lamate Menashe Gadi ben Susi. So those are the names of the Hoshea is the Nasi. And Nasi over here doesn't mean the leader of the tribe. It means a prominent individual from the tribe of Ephraim. Yet, when it mentions the prominent individual from the tribe of Menashe, Ephraim and Menashe are brothers, the sons of Yosef, it says, from the tribe of Yosef, the tribe of Menashe, Gadi ben Susi. So the obvious question is, why is Yosef's name attached to Menashe? Why isn't Yosef's name attached to Ephraim? Everybody, are you with me? You hear the question? It's a fairly obvious question. Anybody got an answer?
Because attributes of Yosef character were with Yeshua, but not with Menashe.
Exactly correct, but the opposite. Exactly correct, but the opposite. Yosef's character, which one of these two brought back a negative report? Was it the one from Ephraim or the one from Menashe? The one from Menashe. What did Yosef do? He was the first one who initiated what?
Disowning.
Huh?
Disowning.
Disowning? Yosef himself was disowned. He was sold. He didn't do the selling. He was sold. But what did Yosef do to get himself sold? He brought a negative report about his brothers. So that negative report, which one of these two brings a negative report? The one from Ephraim or the one from Menashe? The one from Menashe. So the one from Menashe, the Torah is telling you, he still has that Yosef characteristic of negative report. It's still in him all these generations later. Therefore, Yosef's name is ascribed to him. Number one. Number two, the Mefarshim say that Yosef, to a certain extent, is responsible for all this. Why? What did Yosef say when the brothers first came to Mitzrayim? When the first thing Yosef said when they were brought to power, when he was incognito. Turn back for a second. This should give you goosebumps, especially if he turns up the air conditioning. Take a look at Parshas Miketz. I'm checking on page 220. What did you say?
Like Parsha starts at 223.
Yeah, so it's on page 230. 230. 234. 234. I better be right. I love being right. Yeah, 234. Oh, the joy of being right. Page 234, top line. So Yosef's brothers come to Mitzrayim. And what do you call it? The very first thing Yosef says to them, he wants to make sure they don't know who he is. So what does he say to them? Vayizkor Yosef, he sees the brothers. Vayizkor Yosef es hachalamos, he remembers the dreams. Asher cholam lahem. Vayomer aleihem, Yosef said to them, Miraglim atem, you're spies. First thing he says, you're spies. Oh, that activates some sort of spiritual spy genetic energy, which eventually is going to come out in these spies over here. Yosef says they're spies. Now, he didn't speak to them in Lashon HaKodesh, because he didn't want them to know he's an Egyptian king. How would he know Lashon HaKodesh? He speaks Egyptian. So what does Yosef do? He has a translator. He has an interpreter. Who did Rashi say the interpreter is? Menashe, his son Menashe. So he says in Egyptian, I don't know any Egyptian, but he says Egyptian, whatever the Egyptian equivalent is for spies. You know, he says you're spies. Menashe, his son, then translates and says to them in Lashon HaKodesh, you're meraglim, you're spies. That means who shares in this genetic energy that's transmitted? Both Yosef and Menashe. Now turn back to where we are. Lemate Yosef, lemate Menashe. That's why Yosef and Menashe go together. Yosef and Menashe were both involved in this accusation of being spies. Okay. Now I want to ask you a question. You know, spies, they're going to walk around together. They're going to go into the land walking around together. And no one in the land looks like them. I mean, now just imagine 12 Chassidim go walking through, picture the most crowded city in the world, the Tokyo or Mexico City. So let's say 10 Chassidim go to Tokyo. 12 Chassidim are walking through the streets of Tokyo. All you got to do is people eating ramen and sushi and doing karate and riding Kawasaki's. And all of a sudden you got 12 Chassidim walking the streets over there. Nobody's going to notice them. Nobody's going to notice them. Yeah. I mean, and remember, every few minutes they got to have a minyan. So you got 12 guys outside. Yamin Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach. Nobody notices. Nobody's going to see that. Right? And every once in a while they're going to bench. They're going to eat. And it goes up to some Japanese guy. Excuse me, where's the mikveh? Oh, it's talking about mikveh. What now? What are the chances that this is going to work over here? These are spies. I mean, you put in spies. You put in like the Israelis go into Gaza over there. They dress like pregnant women, and they dress like Israel, like Arabs. And they want to go. These guys are good. These guys, they're it's the most dangerous job, the mistarvim. And not only that, the guy explained to me I've had explained a couple of times that these guys who go into Gaza, because the Arab dialect and the customs in Gaza are not the same as the Arabs in Hebron. So they have all the nuances. They've got it down, and these guys are really, it's dangerous. B, they're very professional. Okay, so if you're going to go in, so send a couple of people who look Japanese. And send them into Tokyo. Get the guys and get the guys who've been out. How's this going to work? Okay, but we're going to go in. We're going to check out. We're going to have Siyata Dishmaya. Now let's see what happens. So Moshe sends them through. He sends them in. Then the Torah says this is the first area where there's a lot of discussion. It's 6 lines from the bottom. Vayikra Moshe leHoshea bidun Yoshua. Moshe calls Hoshea binun Yehoshua. And Rashi says a very famous line over here that Moshe was saying a prayer for him. Ka Yoshiacha miatzas meraglim. Hashem should save you from the plot of the spies. Which begs the question, well, if Moshe knew there's a plot, so why is he sending them? Obviously, he didn't know there's a plot for sure. He feels that there may be a potential over here. He senses there could be, but he has no choice but to send them. So he says a special tefillah for Yoshua. Whether he names him here, or whether the naming actually took place later, that's not clear. There's a discussion among the commentaries. And not only that, I think Rav Hirsch says that this wasn't just a private prayer for Yoshua. The word Hoshea, what does the word Hoshea mean? Hoshea means the one who has delivered you, who has saved you. What does Yehoshua mean? In Hebrew, what's the word Yehoshua in the Hebrew form? The one who will save you. So this was a message to them, and it's a message to the entire Jewish people. We're sending spies. Okay, Moshe says one last message for everybody. By the way, before these guys go, I want you and the rest of you to all know that the God who has saved you, he will save you here. So you got nothing to worry about. But according to the commentaries, as he's saying this, according to Rashi, why? This is a life lesson. It's a life lesson. And again, you have to be able to separate when we say that this is what's happening in the Chumash. At what level it's hard to know what's happening in the Chumash, but at our level it's definitely easy to understand. Moshe Rabbeinu is saying specifically a tefillah for Yehoshua. Why Yehoshua and not Kalev? That's one of the things everybody asks. Why is he saying specifically a tefillah for Yehoshua? So the answer to that is that one of the answers to why he's saying the tefillah is, turn back to the previous Parsha again. Turn back to the previous Parsha. When Hashem takes Miriam and Aaron to task, so if you look on 794, let's take a look at this for a second. It's right in the middle of the page. Vatidabre Perik Yud Beis over there. Pasuk Aleph. 7 lines from the 8 lines from the top. Vatidaber Miriam va'Aaron b'Moshe al odas ha'isha akushis asher lokach. Miriam and Aaron spoke about Moshe regarding the isha hakushis asher lokach. Now the word kushis means what? Right, but in here it doesn't mean that. Rashi says that kushis means she was beautiful. The same way that everybody admits that somebody who's black is black, nobody denies that. So kushis here is used in a symbolic term, meaning the same way that everybody concedes that this black guy is black, everybody concedes that this woman is beautiful. She was beautiful, and she was beautiful both in physically beautiful and in her actions. Asher lokach ki isha chushis lokach. Vayomer, they said the following: Harakach b'Moshe diber Hashem alogam banu diber. What, Hashem only spoke to Moshe? He speaks to us also. Vayishma Hashem. Now, there are those that say, there are Mefarshim that say that this was said right in the presence of Moshe Rabbeinu. So he's being, what would your reaction be? What would your reaction be if me and Aaron just start discussing you, right? I think Yitzchak's got to improve those table manners. What do you say? What do you say, Aaron? What about his table manners?
I think they're acceptable.
You think so? I think it could be a little better. What would you do if you're right here while we're talking about you? What would you say? At a certain point, say, hey, whoa, what? Hey, guys, wait, you wrote a book on etiquette? I mean, who are you? You still eat mashed potatoes with your hands. Who are you to talk about me? You'd say something. We're not going to let us talk in front of you. And according to the opinion of Moshe Rabbeinu, heard them discussing him. He doesn't say a word. Why not? Now watch the irony of Torah. V'ha'ish Moshe onav ma'od. The man Moshe was very humble. Mikol ha'adam asher al pnei ha'adama. Of every person on the face of the earth. Gentlemen, who wrote those words? Moshe wrote those words. How would you feel if I wrote, I am so humble. No one is as humble as me. Do you hear the irony there? Do you hear a little bit of an interesting irony there? Where did these words come? Moshe Rabbeinu wrote these words. There's a lot to that. But realize Moshe Rabbeinu wrote that, which means, good. That means humility is not denial. Humility is not, it's not the Mississippi either. It's not denial. It's not the Mississippi. I get it. Sorry. Humility is not denial. Somebody says, wow, you painted that? That's unbelievable. You got unbelievable artistic talent. No. That's silly. If you did it, you obviously have artistic talent. Humility, at one level, is the ability to recognize who you are, but recognize that whatever ability you have doesn't come from you, it comes from Ribbon Shalom. That's humility. To deny what you accomplished is ridiculous. A guy scores a goal in a soccer game, and 70,000 sophisticated English beer-drinking fans start screaming. Well, there are 80,000 in the stadium, but 10,000 are fighting with the Dutch fans. But what do you call? So 70,000 English sophisticated fans start screaming. What's he supposed to do? Look up and say, no, I didn't do it? That's stupid. Everybody saw you score the goal. That's denial. That's ridiculous. It's the ability to recognize that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave. If I have the ability, Hashem gave you the ability, number one. Number two, it's to feel about yourself that even regardless of what talents, abilities, capabilities an individual has, he feels insignificant. So if somebody's insulting him, you haven't really insulted anybody because I'm a nobody. Not that I'm a nobody and I'm a worm. I'm a nobody meaning that I don't have anything on my own because it all comes from God. So the Torah says Moshe Rabbeinu is the most humble man in history. Do you know that there's a statement in the Gemara? Rav Yosef in the Gemara, the Gemara says that when Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi died, humility died with him. Go on, it's the last page in Tractate Sota. And Rav Yosef says, don't say humility died with him because I'm still around. Statement in the Gemara. How do you like that? How do you like that? So what does that mean? That means that humility is not denial. I recognize what I am. And a person can theoretically recognize that he's humble. Some people have a lot to be humble about. Real humility is when a person has got a lot of things that theoretically he could boast about and he still manages to stay humble. A person who's got no abilities or talents, that's not humble. That's just a guy who's incapable. So Rav Chatzkel Abramsky, who was one of the Gedolei Hador, he passed away in 1976. So he was one of the Gedolei Hador. He was the chief, he was one of the main Rabbanim, it might have been even in England, but he was one of the Gedolim. He was the head of the rabbinical court in England. And there was a Jew that was accused of something, and he had to go to court in England, in front of an English court. And Rav Chatzkel Abramsky was called in as a witness. It had to do, I think, with shechita, with ritual slaughter. And Rav Chatzkel Abramsky was called into this English court, with these stuffy English judges with their wigs, that sort of thing. And he comes into this court, and he said something, he gave a halachic opinion, so the English court, the English judge says, Rabbi, I want to get the opinion of the supreme halachic authority. So Rav Chatzkel Abraham says, Your Honor, I am the supreme halachic authority. So the judge says to him, Rabbi, a little humility. He said, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm under oath. He knew who he was, and he was the supreme halachic authority, so he was giving his opinion. So that's, okay. Now Moshe Rabbeinu has a disciple. Who's his disciple? Get you one second. Who's his disciple? Yeshua. Well, what trait of Yeshua do you think is the most outstanding trait? His humility. So what's Moshe Rabbeinu worried about? If they're going to go in, and there are 12 of them, and the 10 formulate an opinion, he's concerned that his disciple Yeshua may bend, out of humility, he may bend in order to not fight with the majority. Therefore, he has to say a tefillah for Yeshua that makes Yeshua is going to maintain his position. That's one explanation. Then there's another explanation. And this one also applies to us. Do you remember, did you guys go through last week's Parsha? Where there's a prophecy, Moshe Rabbeinu, 70 men joined Moshe Rabbeinu to become the assistants to Moshe Rabbeinu. 2 of the men, Eldad and Medad, then prophesied. And Yeshua says, please, Moshe Rabbeinu, silence them. Why does he want them to be silenced? Because what was their prophecy? They were prophesying what? Moshe's going to die and Yeshua's going to lead the people into the land. Oh, Moshe's going to die and Yeshua's going to lead the people into the land. What's Moshe Rabbeinu now worried about Yeshua? Yeshua heard that prophecy. Oh, Yeshua's going to go into the land, and the last thing Yeshua wants to happen is that what? That Moshe Rabbeinu's going to die. Now Moshe Rabbeinu's nervous. I'm going to go into the land. There's going to be a prophet. Yeshua is going to bring back a negative report. For what reason? To try to stop us from going into the land of Israel. Why? Because he's worried that if we go in, I'm going to die. So Yeshua may, and this is where it gets dangerous, Yeshua may turn the entire thing into a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to bring back a negative heart. That really needs a player. That needs a tefillah. Because there are 2 types of misleads. There are 2 types of evil inclinations. Do you know that the Gemara says when Yaakov Avinu was crossing, remember Yaakov Avinu was leaving and a man starts wrestling with him. Who was this man? What are we told? The Chumash says he's a man. Who are we told it is?
Angel.
It's an angel. Well, yeah, the ministering angel of Esav. Again, gentlemen, when they say the word angel, whatever you're picturing, it isn't. But, we've been Hollywooded into thinking what angels look like. But whatever the case is, there's a man, and this man is a malach. He's the angel, the ministering angel. What did he look like? How do you picture this guy? A man's fighting with Yaakov Avinu, an angel in the image of a man. Let's say he looks like a man, because that's what the Torah says. But he's really a malach, but he looks like a man. What do you picture him as?
James LeBron is one leg.
Huh?
James LeBron, but with one leg.
James what?
He said LeBron James.
Oh! Whoa, James LeBron. Good try. James LeBron. What do you call it? I thought I heard you stick LeBron in there somehow, but okay. So what do we picture this guy as? According to what, imagine the ultimate bad guy in the movies. Yeah, LeBron. The ultimate bad guy, right? The ultimate evil, there's always that one guy, in Mr. T or whatever it is. There's always some guy. That's how you picture. That's how. Who's the ultimate bad guy nowadays? I don't know who the bad guys are in the movies anymore, but there's always that bad. They're really nasty looking. That's one opinion. There's one opinion that he looked. Who? Yeah, right. Obama Barack. Yeah. So Obama Barack. Yeah. So picture, says one opinion that says he looked like an outlaw. Whatever you picture an outlaw, the bad guy in the movies. There's another opinion that said he looked like a Talmud Chacham. He looked like a Talmud Chacham. He's wrestling with Rav Yashiv. He looked like Rav Moshe Feinstein. That's what it says. What does that mean? He looked like, there are two opinions. He's wrestling with this with the archangel of Esav, and there are two opinions. He looked like a, what do you call it? He looked like a bad guy, or he looked like a Talmud Chacham. He looked like the Brisker Rav. He looked like the Vilna Gaon. What does that mean? The answer is, and this is why I say it applies to us very much, there are two forms of deception. There's one deception where you're looking at the non-kosher food. It looks like a pepperoni pizza, smells like a pepperoni pizza, tastes like a pepperoni pizza, right? Before you get to the taste. It looks like it, smells like it, and I know it is. Now I have a battle. Will I or won't I? That's one type of battle. Pure willpower. There's another type of battle. The battle is that I need to go to shul right now. It's 5 to 8, there's an 8 o'clock minyan. My wife says she needs help in the house with the kids. She's not feeling well, the kids are driving her nuts, she needs help with the kids getting them off to school. But I gotta go to minyan. Now, one of these decisions is going to be the right decision, and one is the wrong decision. Which is the easier thing?
To go to mini?
Oh, yeah. Which is the right decision? Stay home and help your wife. But you could actually convince yourself, yeah, but I got to go in a minyan, Heshmei Rabbah, the davening, minyan, they need that lady, I might even get an aliyah, even though it's Tuesday. You know, you got all sorts of, you know, when you start kvetching with the thumb. That's a very, very tricky Yitzhar that comes up in life all the time. Where you turn something into a mitzvah, then it makes it much more difficult. I'm supposed to be in Shir learning Torah, but a friend of mine asked me if I could help him to put up some bookcases. Yeah, but it's a chesed. No, yeah, it's a test. So generally, as a rule of thumb, the general rule, that's not 100%, but pretty close to it, the one that you want to do is the one you shouldn't do. Because the Yetzer Hara never gets you, never helps you. So if the Yetzer Hara is pushing, if you feel, wow, I want to do this mitzvah, chances are you shouldn't. If it's a choice of that and another mitzvah, chances are you shouldn't. Because when it comes to the things that we should do, we generally don't want to do it because there's a counterforce. There's generally a counterforce. So Yoshua has a very strong motivation to turn this entire thing into a mitzvah here. Because Moshe Rabbeinu's life depends on this. So Moshe Rabbeinu, he knows his Yoshua. So he says a tefillah, Hashem should save you from the plot. You should be able to see through and realize and understand that, yes, bring back a positive report. That's what the Meforshim say. Okay. So then Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, start going up. And I want you to check out the people over there. Skip on to Pasuk Yud Zayin. Vayishlach osa Moshe lasur etz Eretz Canaan. Vayomer aleim aluze b'negev alisa mesahar. We're still on 798. Moshe Rabbeinu says, I want you to go up to the land of Canaan. And I want you to check it out. And I want you to check out the spiritual level of the people. Are the people strong or are the people weak? Now look at Rashi over here. First, we'll get to a very strange question, he says. Let's read the psukim. Ureisam esa oretz mahi. Check out the land. Ve'esa ha'ma yoshev aleh. Hachazakhu harafe. Are they strong or weak? Ha'me'athu imrav. Are they a lot or a little? These are not strategic questions. This is not because we're afraid. This is to check out, according to the Meforshim, check out the people themselves. What kind of spiritual level are the people on? Umaha aretz asher hu yoshev ba, hatova hi imra. Is it good or bad? Umaha arim asher yoshev bahena, habemachanim ibimivtzarim. Are they in fortified cities or not fortified cities? And again, according to our first approach, this is strategic. If they're not fortified, okay, that indicates that they're strong. The stronger you are, the less fortification you feel any good. So now we know what the strategy is that way. If it is fortified, so we'll do something else. But not a question of if, it's a question of how. And then he says something very strange. page 800, second line. Umaha oretz hashmena hi imraza. Is it a rich land? Is it a, how does the article translate, fertile, lean? Hayesh ba eitz im ein. Is there a tree or there isn't? Then you should strengthen yourself and take some of the produce, and it was the day of the early ripening of the grapes. Now, did anything strange strike you about that question? Is there a tree there or there isn't? Hayesh ba'etz imayin. Is there a tree there or there isn't? Anything strange about that question?
It's not going to be a useful report because they know already the land is.
Even more.
If they ain't got lumber, there ain't be no temple.
If there ain't lumber, there ain't a temple.
Yeah, you need it.
You need lumber, okay, but even before we get to the lumber, so some of them unfortunately say, well, let's talk about if they have, are we going to need hatchets to chop through forests over here to get to them? Are they hiding in the forest? But before, on the literal level of the words, just look at the words. Hayesh ba'etz imayin, nothing to bother you. It's like saying, singular. You ever been to a country where there are no trees? Hayesh ba'etz, wait, is there no tree? Is there a tree or there isn't a tree? I mean, we're not going to a desert over here. There's no tree? You know, a country where there's no tree? Where's there no trees in the world? Ever heard of a country with no tree? Take a look at Rashi. Hayesh ba'etz. Right column of Rashi, second line from the top. So you've learned enough Gemara, guys, to understand that whatever the question is, that can't be the question. That's how Gemara works, right? Whatever else he's asking, he can't be asking, is there a tree? Right? He can't be asking. It's like asking, we're going to Israel, are there any stores that sell wholesale? Right? In a Jewish community. There's never been a Jewish community in the world that doesn't have somewhere. Do Jews buy wholesale? Only. Only. They sacrifice their youngest rather than buy retail, right? So of course, hayesh ba'etz, says Rashi. Im yesh bahem adam kosher. Do they have a righteous individual? She yagin aleim b'schusa, that will protect them with his merit. Is there a righteous individual? Hayesh ba'etz. Is there? What's the one thing got to do with the other? Is there an eitz? Rashi says, you know what eitz means? Eitz means, is there a righteous individual there? Why? What does that mean? He grows, and what does a tree do? A tree has fruit. That means Moshe Rabbeinu says, take a look at the people. If there's a righteous individual there, it can't be that a righteous individual is there and does not exert an influence on the other people. If the people are not decent, if they're all a bunch of decadent people, if they're all a bunch of people who are sharing, who are what do you call it, who are liberals, and justify everything rotten in the world, then there can't be anybody decent there. If there's a decent person there, then these people are not going to be a bunch of what do you call whale-loving liberals. Right? Then these people are going to be decent people, and there's not going to be any same-gender marriage, and there's not going to be any sort of the nonsense that goes on in the world today. If there is, that means there's nobody there that's protecting them. Because if there be even one righteous person, the influence would spread like the fruits from a tree. Go check if there's a tree spreading the influence. And if they're all a bunch of what-do-you people who got every single thing in life is backwards in there, that means that there's no righteous individual there. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu wants to report. Okay, we'll see tomorrow with the fruit.